Hey, Francie Heinrichsen here. I am coming on to talk to you about how to evaluate the investments that you make in your business. I just wrote a social media post jokingly saying my first year in business was illustrated by like, oh, profanity, what am I doing? The second year was like, yeah, I think I could do this. The third year was like, yeah, I got this. And the fourth year was totally illustrated by investments, making investments back into my business. And I want to talk about a couple of different perspectives of investments in your business. The first is getting started, how to determine which investments to make when you don't have any revenue coming in your business. And the second one is from the perspective of once you have revenue coming in, how do you determine which investments to make? So I want to go through the thought processes of the good decision making of those investments. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you about some investments, a handful of investments that I have made back into my business this year alone. And I'll throw out some numbers so you can kind of understand the dollar volume that I am making back in my business because I see the importance and I see the return on investment. So with that being said, let's talk about the ROI. We can't talk about investments without talking about return on investment. It's a performance measure used to evaluate the efficiency of an investment or to compare a couple of different investments that you could make in your business. It's a way to really understand, is the expense that you're making going to produce an outcome that will be greater than the investment, the dollar value, or the time that you're making. So if I pay $150 for an hour of consulting, how am I going to use that investment to make more money than $150? Okay. If I hire an employee at $50,000 per year, what is the expected outcome of revenue that that employee is going to make? A lot of companies will expect 4x. So if I pay $50,000 for an employee, I would expect that employee to be able to generate $200,000 in revenue in my business. If I pay for a $10 per month subscription, $10 doesn't sound like much, but on an ongoing basis, if I pay $120 per month for email, what is the return that I would expect to get from that in my business? And sometimes it's obvious. Sometimes you pay a certain amount of money and you get a definitive amount of money back, and sometimes you don't. So I want to talk about how you develop the decision-making ability to know which investments to make. I want to say and begin this conversation letting you know that my husband and I are debt-free except for our mortgage. And I'm not saying that from a place of bragging. I am saying that from a business perspective, that when you don't have debt weighing you down, you are able to leverage the cash flow in your business to make investments that are going to pay off in the long term. You're not taking that cash flow and paying off a credit card bill. You're not taking those investments and paying off a car payment. Is it necessary to have credit card debt and a car payment? Sometimes it is. Sometimes you have to take on that debt in order to survive. There are certain situations where you have to take on debt. So I'm not bashing people who are in debt, but I'm letting you know that there is so much freedom and flexibility to be able to deploy your cash in places, revenue generating opportunities that are going to make you more money. So if it comes down to having Starbucks every day and going in debt, or making coffee at home and using that extra cash to be able to invest back in your business, you need to make those smart decisions up front, okay? So first I want to talk about the actionable concepts, and then at the end of the video, like I said, I'll give you some examples of things that I have invested in this year. So initial startup costs. I bootstrapped my business, which means that I did not take out a loan in order to get my business up and running. I used the income from a job that I was working, and I used some savings that I had. So I did not take out a loan to start up my business. But here is what I know from evaluating and going through not knowing what I should and shouldn't invest money on. I want to pass that along to you. So the first thing you need to think about is, do you need this investment in order to open your doors? Do you need a storefront in order to have a brick and mortar business? Yes, you do. Do you need email marketing subscription because it offers a higher tier than the free? No, you don't. So if you need it to open your doors, in other words, is it a requirement to generate revenue? If it's not, then you need to think twice about it. There's a lot of things that you can do once you start generating that revenue, but sometimes you just got to go with the free version, or you got to go without in order to get the business up and running. I can tell you there's so much that you learn in the first year, and it may even be the case that you pivot your strategy, you go after a different target market, or you offer a different product or service, because once you step into your business, your eyes are going to be opened to so much more opportunity and so much more knowledge. You just have to step into that space of unknown, and you start to learn and build that decision making. So I always recommend in the first year, try to go without. The other thing is I recommend for platforms paying on a month-to-month basis. A lot of platforms will offer a discount if you pay for the year, and that sounds smart, right? It sounds like I'm saving money, but a lot of times because of the changes in the first year, you may not even need that platform. So go on a month-to-month basis. Consider that extra little bit that you pay month to month as an insurance that you could back out and not be tied into the bigger chunk of the annual investment, okay? The other thing is, do you need to take out a loan? A lot of people assume that they're going to have to take out a loan to start a business, and that may not be the case. So with a loan, you are not profitable until you pay your expenses. And that loan is, you can consider that loan an expense. So when it comes down to it, you may be generating revenue, but until you've been able to pay off people that you owe money to, you're not going to be able to consider yourself profitable. The last thing I want to cover is expenses that people assume they need to make when they start a business, but may not necessarily need to make, okay? So an office space. Do you need an office space? Could you work from your couch? Or could you work from a coffee shop once you're getting started? With a lot of online businesses or e-commerce businesses, that's the case. You may not need an office. Other thing is email marketing subscription. MailChimp and a lot of other platforms offer a free version. And the reason why they do that is because you, as a non-revenue generating business, are not their target market. You, as a revenue generating business, are their target market. They want you to make money. So they offer you a stepping stone to be able to leverage their platform in your processes until you're able to generate revenue. And then project management software. That was one that I invested in early, did not need it after 2 months. Okay, so make sure that the software that you are thinking would be just the game changer in your business, well, maybe it's not. Maybe you could use Google Docs or some more manual services until you get up and running and understand how that investment is going to fit into your business. Here are some things that I would invest in. I would invest in a website. Have your own domain. Don't have .weebly.com, okay? Buy the domain, connect it to your website, pay the money on a regular basis, on a monthly basis for that investment. Computer, you're probably going to need a computer to get up and running. That's just a no-brainer. Business cards are another one. I recommend having an actual physical business card. And then professional or brand appropriate attire. You gotta look the part. You don't have to wear a suit if the suit is not indicative of your business, but you do need to look professional. So here are just some general questions that you should ask yourself. Do you need it, and can you afford it? The second is, what is the return on investment? How long will it take you to start making money from that investment? And how is it contributing to the bigger picture of your goals and strategies? The other last general tip I want to give is evaluate your credit card on a month-to-month basis. Look at your credit card. Don't just pay it off and send it off in the mail. Okay, look line by line to see what you're actually paying for, and if you don't need it anymore, get rid of it. Now I want to jump to the things that I have invested in with money and with time in my business. The first is 2 different large-scale conferences, and these have been invaluable to my business this year. I vetted them very carefully, and I had certain goals and expectations that I wanted to get out of them. The first was the Kajabi Impact Summit, where I saw Neil Patel, Amy Porterfield, Chalene Johnson, Rachel Hollis. It was a phenomenal conference. I flew out all the way across the country to Irvine, California. I was able to use it in my content, my marketing materials, and not only that, not only the marketing side of it, not only the relationship side of it, where I built relationships with people across the world, but I also brought 32 pages of notes home that I refer to on a regular basis. It has helped shape my approach to business and to marketing, that value that I can then pass along to my clients. The second conference I went to was Blism in Nashville. I just got back, and that conference was very much a relationship builder, but I took a lot of great information away from that one as well. I probably spent $5,000 to go to those two conferences, and it was well worth the money. I also hired a Pinterest expert for $5,500. I did it for 5 months, and that was the total of the investment, and it paid off incredibly. She was amazing. Pinterest strategy was amazing. I would definitely recommend if it works for your revenue model or your business model. The third thing that I've invested in is branded material. I've gotten water bottles, something tangible to be able to hand out to people. I've gotten business cards. I, paid for branding for my website. Branding is so powerful, and it's definitely an investment I would recommend making. The third, I'm doing professional photos at the end of the year. I think having branded professional photos really goes a long way for positioning you as an expert in your field. The other thing, and in fact, I just got back today, this is what spurred this whole conversation, I paid a consultant to audit and to talk with me about strategy in my business. He is a marketing expert. He has 20 years in the corporate world of marketing, and I value his insight. I value his input. And so I sat down with him for an hour, paid $150 to say, this is where I'm going with my business. These are the actual concepts that I use to develop my strategy for clients. What do you think? What am I missing? What knowledge gaps are there? So it is so valuable to sit down with somebody who can give you that feedback. It's important that we audit ourselves. It's important that we look from an objective perspective about what we're doing. And then 2 to 3 virtual assistants. I have contracts out right now. I am bringing help underneath my umbrella to be able to reach a larger audience and be able to make a bigger impact. I'm capped. My hands are tied. So I cannot take on any more clients unless I have help. So that is the next investment I'm making in my business. And the last one is obvious service platforms like email marketing, schedulers, project management, software, stock photos, those ongoing expenses from a month-to-month basis that help me deploy and send out a consistent message on a regular basis. As far as time goes, here's what I've invested my time in this year. Running an organization here in Peoria called Lipstick and Lattes. It's a great investment of my time. It's one time per month, and we meet to talk about challenges. What challenges are you seeing in your business, and how can we as a group help you move through those? What knowledge can I lend to you that's going to help you make that decision? It's a great investment of my time to be in community with other people, other movers and shakers, other business owners, especially women. The second is trading services with another expert. So instead of actually paying each other, I'm going to look at your website and I'm going to tell you how I think you can increase the conversion, lead people where you want them to go. I'm going to look at your social media channels. I'm going to look at all aspects of your marketing program, and I'm going to tell you where I see gaps. And in turn, she is going to provide her expertise to me because I value having expert opinions in my business. The third is an organization that I joined. I joined the board of directors for the Peoria Innovation Alliance. So that's something I give my time to on a monthly basis. It's a fantastic organization that's doing amazingly positive things for the community, but it also allows me to get in front of and shake hands and have conversations and build relationships with people in the community. So that's a great investment of my time. And then speaking engagements. So I've done a lot of free speaking engagements this year, spoken to universities here in the area. I have spoken to local organizations, just giving my time and being the thought leader on a topic. So there's my 2 cents. Take it, leave it. If you have any questions, just reach out. Thank you.